So I've come out to the woods today just to talk a little bit about breathing. I'm out here because being surrounded by nature and the trees for me is very relaxing. It really helps to kind of calm me down if I was feeling stressed. So this environment for me is a wonderful place to practice deep breathing and a wonderful place to be able to practice kind of feeling calm. So hopefully I can kind of share a couple of techniques with you that might feel helpful if you're feeling stressed or anxious and you're noticing that your breathing is starting to be affected, because it can be very difficult to focus on anything else around you. Actually, if you're struggling with your breath, it's very difficult for your brain to kick in and help you concentrate on the task at hand or concentrate on perhaps calming down a little bit. So thank you for watching. So the reason that we're talking about breathing today is because it's something that can come up quite a lot in counselling sessions. People may recognise this kind of physical symptom of worry, anxiety or stress before they recognised that they were feeling something in the first place. So sometimes it's that they're feeling panic, they're feeling breathlessness, and they hadn't recognised that there was some kind of trigger in their environment. There was some kind of trigger in their mind, or that there was something about the situation that they were in that was causing them to feel something very strongly, and actually their body is the first thing that's let them know about this. It can be very distressing and very difficult to cope with, and unfortunately it can lead into a little bit of a cycle where we start to then worry about worrying. So if somebody's experienced breathlessness, there's a real kind of understanding there that that's not a nice thing to experience, and then there's an obvious kind of avoidance of wanting to feel that again, and understandably so. But unfortunately, sometimes that worry about worrying can contribute then. So counselling obviously is a fantastic place to be able to explore that and try and make some sense of it. There are lots of professionals around in Hampshire that can help with that. But equally so, I thought we'd just do a short video just as a couple of ways that can help kind of physically to make changes in that moment. So I was just going to talk about two different ways of trying to regulate your breathing. So the first one is, I call it 7-Eleven. It sticks in my head because of the shops from many years ago, and all it involves is over time being able to kind of slow down your breathing. So what the aim is with each of these activities is that your outwards breath is taking longer than your inwards breath. So when we talk about 7-Eleven, we're talking about counting in for 7 and then counting out for 11. So you're kind of counting in your head while you're breathing in for 7, and then you're counting out while you're breathing out for 11. And each time you do it, the hope is that you can start to slow that down more and more, and by slowing it down that will help to kind of bring more calm, and then kind of it continues on. So the slower you go, the calmer you should hopefully feel. But it takes practice, both of these activities do. So my recommendation would be that you practice these actually when you're feeling in a good frame of mind, when you're in a place that you feel safe, and practice them as much as possible really. There's no harm to be done for sitting and breathing and giving yourself a bit of time. So the second activity involves actually a shape instead of numbers, so it involves a rectangle. And what it involves is you finding a shape in your surroundings that's a rectangle, so a door, a window. I had somebody suggest to me before a sheet of paper is very good, or a book. So if you're in a school or a work environment, actually you can use something that's around you. Rectangles are kind of around in the environment. It doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle, it's more that you've just got that shape to focus on. And the idea with the rectangle shape is actually you're doing similar as with the 7-Eleven breathing, is that we're finding the smallest part of the rectangle for the breathing in, and we're going to follow that with our eyes. So if we imagine a door, so I'm going to look from left to right across the door while I'm breathing in, and then I'm going to go down the side while I'm breathing out, breathe in along the bottom, and then breathe out again as I'm going back up again. And each time I go around, I'm going to hopefully slow down my breathing a little bit more, so that I'm breathing in nice and slowly, out nice and slowly as I follow my eyes down, in as I go across, and out as I go back up again. And it's another way for your brain to be focusing on the task and letting itself calm down, so your body can slowly kind of get its kind of equilibrium back. It can kind of feel more regulated, it can feel more in control. So the hope is with these activities that you can either with a counsellor or a therapist, or just kind of by reflecting by yourself, is to look at a situation and try and work backwards from it, and recognise as early as possible when you're starting to feel uncomfortable and starting to feel some distress, and recognise that, and perhaps take some kind of deep breaths at that point. So the further back that we can track, the less distress we have to kind of have rising at that time. So there are times when we have to feel a level of anxiety. There are times when our body's trying to warn us, and there are times when something about that situation wasn't predictable. So, you know, for example, if you're suddenly having to speak to people you don't know and that's very uncomfortable for you, or if you're having to speak on stage in front of people and that's very uncomfortable for you, it's noticing at what point can you put in some kind of help for yourself, so that you don't reach a heightened level of distress. So alongside counselling can be very good for exploring and understanding actually why these situations are causing these reactions in you, and what's triggering them. There are other activities and other ways of trying to understand that. So yoga, mindfulness, qigong, these are all places that you can go to with professionals to try and support your breathing and try and help understand your body more, and recognise when your body's trying to help you in a way that feels very unhelpful. So very often it's trying to give you kind of notice of something that's happening, that it thinks is a threat, and maybe you need to listen to that to be able to understand and teach yourself where the dangers lie and where they don't lie, and why your body feels maybe some things are threats when your mind is able to kind of stand back and say, actually, this is not a threat. So finding the right professional to help you, for me, is a key factor. So for some people, counselling is absolutely the right place, and finding the right counsellor is a very important part of settling in and it working. But equally, if you're looking to try yoga and mindfulness, or any of these activities that can support breathing, so even running, boxing, anything that helps you kind of learn to regulate your breathing more, these are all, for me, the key is very often about finding the right person and the right fit. So it can involve a bit of research, and sometimes it might be good to have somebody to help you with that. Because actually, once that's in place, I think that can be magnificent in really helping make some changes. There are people out there that work in these fields, so my background obviously is counselling, but actually if there's people that work with mindfulness or yoga, or other activities that they feel that they notice actually for their clients really benefit their breathing and really benefit them, then please do get in touch. The point of Healthy Heads in Hampshire is to bring together professionals that can support mental health, and I recognise that although I'm a counsellor, there are many ways to do this, and so my hope is that we can really help connect up people with the right support for them. So thank you very much for watching.